Heartwarming Millionaire discovers incredible truth after finding elderly couple collapsed in rain. Michael Hart was a man who had everything: wealth, status, and a sprawling mansion filled with exquisite possessions. But as he drove home from yet another glamorous gala, the diamond-studded atmosphere felt like a heavy shroud. The laughter echoed hollow in his ears, each cheer reminding him of the emptiness that loomed within. For all his riches, he felt like a ghost drifting through a life devoid of warmth. A life where his estranged family felt like distant stars in a night sky. As the rain fell in torrents, turning the street into a slick mirror, Michael's mind wandered to his discontent. A flash of movement caught his eye. An elderly couple lay collapsed outside a small rustic diner, rain cascading down over them. Without a moment's thought, he swerved the car onto the roadside, heart pounding. Urgency gripped him, compelling him to leap out into the storm. Drenched to the bone, he rushed to their side, gathering them in his arms as though protecting them from the tempest. Inside the diner, the warmth enveloped him like a long-lost embrace. He draped blankets around Arthur and Joan, their faces lined with stories etched by time and hardship. The smell of home-cooked food lingered, mingling with the scent of coffee. As they sipped from steaming cups, Arthur began sharing tales of their late son, a dedicated veteran who had given everything for his country. Each word hit Michael like a hammer, his heart squeezing painfully tight. The couple spoke of love and loss, a tapestry woven with threads of resilience that started to awaken something deep within him, a faint glimmer of hope. But that hope quickly dimmed as whispers of disdain followed him like shadows. His wealthy friends scoffed at his new obsession with the couple, mocking the diner's humble existence. "What's wrong with you, Michael?" they'd say, eyes rolling. "You're throwing it all away for a couple of washed-up diner owners." Caught between two worlds, he could feel the walls closing in. Each derisive comment pushed him further into isolation. Determined to make a difference, he invested resources into revamping the diner, imagining a vibrant community hub bursting with life. But as the renovations grew chaotic, he soon realized how easy it was to throw money at a problem without understanding its roots. His plans unraveled, reflecting the painful truth that success couldn't be bought, it had to be nurtured like a delicate flower. With the looming threat of failure, he summoned the courage to host a community fundraiser. It was a leap of faith, intended to merge the wealth he wielded with the spirit of the community he wished to embrace. As the event unfolded, tensions mounted. Conversations turned heated as biases surfaced, revealing the fractures that divided their society. Michael's heart raced, and his chest tightened with both fear and determination. Then came a moment of unadulterated impact. He stepped onto the stage, overlooking a sea of faces, and announced with fervor, "No one should be judged by their status. True worth comes from the love we share and the lives we touch." But just as he began to forge a bridge with Arthur and Joan, his two teenage children pushed through the crowd, faces twisted in disbelief. They stood there, bodies tense and eyes wide as whispers filled the air. Would they accept this new chapter? Or would they drive him further into the isolation he had fought so hard to escape? Michael's future shimmered like a mirage, tantalizing yet just out of reach, hanging in the balance of that charged moment. The air was thick with tension, and the murmurs sliced through Michael like a cold wind. His children's presence felt like both a lifeline and a noose. There stood Ava, his rebellious daughter with a penchant for art and self-expression, and Dylan, his steadfast son who carried the weight of expectations like a backpack too heavy to bear. Their shocked faces mirrored the disbelief of the crowd, an intricate blend of emotions that twisted like a knot in his stomach. "Dad?" Ava's voice broke through the noise, laced with confusion. "What are you doing here?" Michael swallowed hard, grappling with the many ways he could respond. The truth skidded across his mind. He longed for their understanding, their acceptance. But how could he explain a journey that began in a torrential downpour in a rundown diner? He stepped closer to the microphone, his heart pounding. "I'm trying to make a difference," he replied, his voice steadier than he felt. "These two, Arthur and Joan, have lived lives filled with hardships and joys. I want to help them create a place where everyone feels welcome, where stories can be shared." A ripple of reactions surged within the crowd, a mix of skepticism, curiosity, and perhaps a touch of understanding. His words hung like fog over their faces, tracing the edges of a stark reality. Those present had grown up on whispered tales of struggle, some akin to the couple's. Others turned away, comforted by the shimmering surface of their privilege. Is this about you or them? Dylan shot back, his expression fierce, as he pushed through the opposition. The sharpness in his voice made the air crackle. You're trying to fix things, but why? Just to feel good about yourself? That question thudded in Michael's chest. He had always wanted to be a father his children could be proud of. This isn't about me, son. It's about bringing people together. He wanted to explain further how he felt connected to Arthur and Joan's story in a way he had never felt about his own life. But you're a millionaire. Ava interrupted, frustration spilling over. What do you know about our lives? You can't just waltz in and play savior. Her words struck him like a lightning bolt. A part of him wanted to defend his intentions, to convey how their pain resonated within him. But another part felt the sting of doubt, wondering if he had indeed misplaced his sense of purpose amidst the flashing lights of opulence. As the crowd watched, Michael felt vulnerable, not like the wealthy man who wore tailored suits but instead like a man stripped bare. In that moment of silence it hit him like a brick. He was terrified of not being understood, not just by them but by himself. I'm trying to fit into a world where I feel disconnected, he admitted, voice softer now. I don't have all the answers. But I want to learn, to grow, to be a part of something real. The raw honesty broke through the tension, drawing a few nods from faces he had once thought were solely critical. As his children paused, their expressions shifted. They looked at each other, uncertainty mingling with a hint of realization. Before he could gauge their response, Arthur stepped forward. With quiet strength he spoke. Something real often starts with an act of kindness. We've learned that it only takes one person to ripple out change. With that simple truth, a pathway seemed to open. Michael was determined to take the first step. But what if his children couldn't see the beauty there? What if they turned away? As the night unfolded, he had no idea whether he would convince his kids to step onto this new path with him. Would they allow their walls to come down and embrace the warmth waiting beyond? Or would they retreat into their own worlds, leaving Michael standing alone, heart in hand, striving to bridge a gap that felt impossible? In that moment of uncertainty, he knew one thing: the journey was only just beginning, and the true test was yet to come. Michael's heart raced as the crowd murmured around him. He could feel his children's eyes boring into his soul, searching for answers he wasn't sure he had. Ava's posture was rigid, arms crossed, while Dylan leaned forward, softening only slightly but still bristling with skepticism. Arthur and Joan stood in the background, quiet witnesses to this emotional standoff. The flickering stage lights cast deep shadows, but in that moment it felt like all eyes were on Michael, pinning him in place. Suddenly, the weight of what he was trying to accomplish seemed almost insurmountable. Dad, what's your plan? Dylan's voice broke through the tension, sharp as glass. You can write a check and walk away. You always do. It was an accusation wrapped in a question, and Michael felt each word hit him like a punch to the gut. He took a breath, steadying himself, determined to fight for the connection he craved with his children. I don't want to just throw money at this problem. I want to build something. Something that lasts, he insisted, his voice rising with passion. Ava rolled her eyes, and the movement made Michael's heart sink. This was not how he envisioned reuniting with his children. And what exactly does that mean? Are we supposed to rally behind this couple? Be their cheerleaders while pretending everything is fine? No, Michael replied, his exasperation bubbling up. This isn't just about them. It's South about finding our place in a world that's often broken. Maybe even healing our own brokenness. He hesitated, truth flooding through him. I don't want to live in a bubble of wealth unaware of the lives outside of it. I'm tired of that, Ava. She seemed taken aback, her defenses faltering for just a moment. Then what? You want us to join you in some sort of charity boot camp? How would that actually help us? At that moment, he caught sight of Arthur, who stood tall, the lines on his face softening in the golden light. Arthur's voice, though quiet, held a weight that demanded attention. Help can take many forms. Sometimes it starts small. It begins with listening. Listening? To what? Dylan shot back, frustration spilling over. We don't have the luxury to sit and chat when we're all struggling with our own issues. Michael opened his mouth to respond but hesitated, the enormity of their pain striking him once more. They were all grappling with something, his children with expectations and disappointment, And he with his quest for authenticity. Maybe we don't know what to say or how to feel, he admitted, his voice thick with emotion. But I do know that I don't want to be a stranger to you. I want us to be a family that shares these experiences. Silence occupied the space between them, heavy and almost palpable. Michael couldn't tell if he was making any headway. His children exchanged glances, their expressions unreadable. Ava stepped forward, her demeanor shifting. I get it, you're lost too, she said softly, vulnerability creeping into her voice. But I don't want to just feel, I want to be part of something real. Not forced charity. The words hung in the air, a profound realization breaking through the storm of emotions. Michael felt hope flicker. The once divided paths seemed to converge toward a common goal. Then let us discover what that looks like together, he said gently, his heart still tender from their exchange. Let us be real together. As Michael looked into Ava's eyes, a spark broke through the tension. It felt like a bridge had been built, fragile yet hopeful. But just as that flicker ignited, a loud exclamation erupted from the back of the crowd, pulling their attention and causing a stir. Wait, what if this isn't about just giving? What if we? The voice trailed off into a frenzy of murmurs and speculation. Michael's heart raced again. What now? What would this sudden turn mean for their fragile moment of connection? Maybe this is just the beginning, and we've only scratched the surface, he thought nervously, anticipating the answers to come. A hush fell over the crowd. The murmurs settled into whispers as everyone turned to see who had taken the stage. A young woman, slightly disheveled and trembling, stood in the spotlight, her hands gripping the microphone as if it were a lifeline. I'm sorry to interrupt, but you need to hear this. Her voice, though shaky, held a resonance that commanded attention. My grandparents, they've been struggling. They used to run a small bakery in town, but all of that changed after my grandpa fell ill. They lost everything. They gave so much to our community, and now they need help. Michael felt the breath catch in his throat. He glanced over at Ava and Dylan, who were equally transfixed, uncertainty etched on their faces. The atmosphere shifted, an electric tension sparking through the air as the woman continued. They didn't ask for help, she said, her voice breaking. They thought they could manage it on their own. They thought they could just push through. But they can't. As if on cue, a few people in the crowd murmured in sad agreement. Michael looked around, taking in their expressions: concern, empathy, frustration. It was like a wave of emotion crashing into him, stealing his breath away. Dylan shifted beside him. Does this have anything to do with us? His words came out almost a whisper, reflecting a mixture of fear and curiosity. I think so, Michael replied, his mind racing. The connection was undeniable. This was everything he had just talked about. All at once, the memory of Arthur's wisdom about listening played in his mind. Maybe this was the moment they had been waiting for. This is about more than just giving money or passing platitudes, Michael realized, awakening to the possibilities. It's about being part of something bigger. The young woman, tears spilling down her cheeks, wiped her face and continued. They show love through baking. But they need more than food on the table, they need community. I don't want them to feel alone. The flickering stage lights caught the tears in her eyes, making them shine brighter. In that moment, Michael saw something shift within Ava. Her gaze softened. Dylan leaned in closer, everything about him attentive, as if this young woman had the answers they all desperately sought. Is that what you want? Michael asked, addressing the woman who stood before them, so brave and earnest. To create a community that supports each other? Yes, she practically shouted, her statement a revelation. This is our chance to stand together, to let those who are struggling know that they're not alone. We can be their support. We can restore hope. A swell of emotion rose in Michael's chest. This wasn't just about him and his children anymore. It was about all of them. He turned to his kids, a newfound determination in his eyes. What if we made this our mission? What if we pulled together, offered more than just funds but our time, our love, our resources? What if we built something meaningful with this young woman and others like her? Silence enveloped them once more. But it felt different this time, charged with possibilities. Ava blinked rapidly, processing the idea, her guard beginning to slip. Dylan's brow furrowed, and for a moment, Michael could see the gears shifting in his son's mind. After a long moment, Dylan said softly, maybe we could start with their bakery? Together, Michael affirmed, heart swelling. Let us create a space where love can rise, much like their bread. We can meet every need with compassion. The young woman's face broke into a radiant smile, the crowd responding with a wave of encouragement, claps, cheers, even a few collective shouts of inspiration. This was a new kind of hope. But just as the energy peaked, another figure stepped forward from the shadows of the crowd, a stern expression on his face. I don't think you understand the risks involved. You can't just jump into this blindly, he began. And the buzz of energy shifted to uncertainty. Michael felt the tension thicken again, his heart sinking a little. Who was this newcomer and what dire warnings would he bring to their blossoming project? As the crowd listened intently, it was clear this was going to be a pivotal moment. Would they have the courage to face the challenges ahead together? The answers loomed just out of reach, and Michael could feel his heart racing yet again, knowing they stood on the precipice of something transformative. The newcomer, a middle-aged man with a weathered face and tired eyes, stepped into the light. His presence sparked an immediate shift in energy. The crowd seemed to lean back, uncertain what to expect. Michael's stomach twisted with the tension. This was their moment, and he could feel it teetering on the edge. I know it sounds great, the man continued, his voice steady but heavy. But running a bakery, especially one that's been struggling, it's not just about love and community. It's about money, logistics, and location. You think you can just jump in without understanding the whole picture? He drew in a deep breath, as if gathering courage for what he was about to say next. I've seen too many well-meaning groups like yours fail before they even start. The young woman faltered, her hope dimming slightly under the weight of his words. Michael clenched his jaw, feeling the anger rise within him. Doubt snaked its way into the hearts of those gathered, and it gnawed at him. Was that it? Was their dream just naive? But he couldn't accept that. Not now. Not when he could feel the burgeoning sense of purpose in the air, the shared determination among those standing around him. They had been waiting for a chance to unite, to stand for something beyond themselves. He closed the space between himself and the intruding voice, heat pooling in his chest. Look, he said, trying to keep his tone calm. We're not just jumping in blindly. This is about more than the bakery. It's about the lives the bakery has touched, and how we can step in to lift those lives back up. They're not just numbers on a balance sheet. They're our neighbors, our friends. His voice gained strength, invigorated by the faces turning towards him, hope mingling with doubt in their eyes. But maybe you don't remember what that feels like, Michael continued, locking eyes with the man in front of him. What it's like to rely on community, to be vulnerable and open to support. That's what we want to create. The crowd seemed to shift, the weight of the newcomer's doubts lightening just a bit. It was as if they were moving in sync, a collective heartbeat igniting. People will return to the bakery if they know it's built on love, the young woman whispered, her voice slightly steadier now. They'll come bearing more than just cash. They'll bring memories, stories. They'll be part of something that matters. Ava and Dylan exchanged glances. For a brief moment, Michael could see a flicker of defiance in his son's eyes, a spark of belief igniting. Could they really make this work? Why don't we put together a plan? Ava suggested, her voice cutting through the tension. If we work hard and learn from each step, we might just get it right. We could face those risks head-on together. Yes, the young woman nodded eagerly. We'll host community meetings. We can set up fundraisers. Everyone can pitch in with skills they have. With each new idea, the conversation swelled around them, an amazing transformation unfolding. The man's expression shifted slightly, though he still looked skeptical. You really believe that people will come together like this? He asked, a hint of uncertainty creeping into his tone. Michael nodded, heart pounding with optimism. We've seen it before. We just need to give them a reason. We have each other. That's a pretty good start. As the crowd buzzed with newfound energy, brainstorming ideas and sharing resources, the man stepped back. For a fleeting second, Michael thought he might see acceptance in the man's expression, or at least a hint of curiosity. But suddenly, from the edge of the crowd, a shout rang out. What if we can't raise enough money? What happens then? The question hung in the air, a dark cloud overshadowing their excitement. Michael felt the worry creep back in, reality crashing down against their dreams. All those plans, so tantalizing and close, suddenly felt at risk of crumbling again. Would they be able to overcome this hurdle? Would their dreams remain unbroken, or would doubt shatter them once and for all? Holding on to hope became an urgent quest. In the back of his mind, Michael feared the looming question: what if the risks were indeed too great? Michael's heart sank as the words echoed through the crowd. What if we can't raise enough money? It was a question that had burrowed deep into doubt, and it festered like an aching wound. He looked around, searching for a spark, a glimmer of resolve among the group of hopeful faces that had rallied behind the dream. Ava stepped forward, her determination piercing through the cloud of uncertainty. "We can start small," she said, her voice steady. "Let us focus on what we can do right now. Maybe we can host a bake sale next weekend? Everyone knows how to whip up something." The man raised an eyebrow, surprised at her boldness. "A bake sale? That's your big plan?" He seemed unconvinced, his skeptical eyes scanning the crowd, but a few nods of agreement rippled through the gathered neighbors. "Every little bit helps," Dylan piped in, his youthful enthusiasm shining brightly. "If we each bring something, we can raise some funds and show that this isn't just a pipe dream." "Exactly," the young woman said, her voice gaining volume. "We can take that first step. If we show our commitment, others in the community will join us. They'll want to be part of something good." Michael felt a flicker of hope reignite within him, fanned by the confidence in their voices. "What if we pair the bake sale with a community potluck?" he proposed. "Everyone can bring a dish, and we can charge a small ticket fee. It would be like a taste of what the bakery could offer. It's about building excitement." Ideas bubbled up like dough in the warmth of an oven, each suggestion igniting a fresh wave of enthusiasm. They began tossing around potential themes for the bake sale, from seasonal treats to old family recipes. The doubt that had settled like a heavy fog began to lift. The man, still standing on the edge as if unsure where he fitted in, watched as the energy deepened amongst the crowd. Michael could see a flicker of intrigue in his eyes. Maybe, just maybe, he was starting to reconsider. But then someone else raised a hand, this time an older gentleman with silver hair. "Look, we might be excited now, but we need to be realistic. What if the bakery needs more than just community spirit to survive? What if we don't have enough people to follow through?" The weight of that worry settled like a stone around Michael's heart. He inhaled deeply, recalling the feeling that had driven him here to believe, not just in the idea but in each other. "We have to acknowledge the risks. But what if we don't take a chance at all?" Silence hung for a moment, each person processing Michael's words. Then a voice broke through, a mother from the back of the crowd. "We can't let fear take the wheel. We need this bakery. I need this bakery for my kids. It's more than just bread. It's home, it's comfort." Her sentiment echoed through Michael's chest, resonating deeply. A shared sense of belonging tied them together, each voice adding weight to the cause. The bravery it took to stand up and speak soon transformed into a chorus of optimism. As they began planning more details, the moment crystallized around them. Even the newcomer seemed drawn in, the tension in his face softening slightly. But then, just as the mood shifted toward excitement, Michael's phone buzzed loudly against his leg, startling him. He glanced down to see a text message from a number he didn't recognize. "We need to talk. It's important." The room felt charged with possibility as the crowd buzzed around him. Could this be one of those unexpected moments that would shape everything? What did it mean? He could feel the energy of their newfound project pulsing around him. But a nagging question remained in his heart: what would this new twist bring? Would it be a curse or a blessing? The next move was uncertain, but one truth registered. The path ahead was bound to be anything but dull. Michael's breath caught in his throat as he stared at the screen. The words blinked back at him, ominous yet intriguing. "We need to talk. It's important." He could feel the weight of the crowd's energy shifting, curious eyes now glued to him. "Hey, what's that about?" Dylan asked, his youthful enthusiasm dimming slightly, replaced by concern. Michael took a breath, glancing around at the group, who had rallied their hopes and dreams around this bakery. "It might be nothing," he said, trying to reassure them, but his voice lacked conviction. The older gentleman with the silver hair squinted at him, skepticism creeping back onto his face. "Sounds pretty important if it's got your attention like that." Ava stepped closer, her brow furrowed in worry. "Michael, you should check it out. What if it's something about funding? Or even support for the bakery?" He didn't want to be the reason for dampening their spirits, yet a knot tightened in his stomach. Yeah, I will. I'll just... Give me a moment. Stepping back from the group, he found a quiet corner, the noise of excited chatter fading into the background. His fingers hesitated over the screen, heart racing as he prepared to type a response. But what could he say? Who is this? What do you want? The desire to protect the momentum generated by the meeting clashed with the worry gnawing at him. Just as he was about to hit send, a voice broke through his thoughts. Michael. It was Ava, leaning against the wall, concern painted across her face. You okay? Yeah, he said too quickly, the lie hanging in the air between them. Just a little overwhelmed. She crossed her arms, clearly unconvinced. You know, whatever it is, we're all in this together. Don't keep it from us. Michael looked into her eyes, the kindness there urging him to open up. What if it's something bad? I don't want it to ruin this moment. We finally have something good happening. Ava let out a soft breath. Sometimes good can come from bad. You can't shield us from everything. He nodded, taking her words to heart. Maybe the conversation could lead them to unforeseen support. With renewed determination he typed back, who is this? What's going on? Then he hit send and turned back to the group. The buzz of excitement had returned, filled with chatter about the bake sale and ideas for decorations. After a moment his phone buzzed again. His heart picked up speed as he saw the response flash across the screen. Meet me at Newark Bakery at 5 p.m. What's that? Dylan called over, excitement spiraling as Michael's face registered a mixture of confusion and urgency. Just something I need to check out, he said, avoiding the probing looks of the crowd. The mother from earlier chimed in, her voice warm and encouraging. You should go. We'll handle everything here. Michael hesitated, the tug of responsibility heavy in his chest. But curiosity outweighed it. What if this was the key to their dream? Okay, let us have a solid plan for the potluck and bake sale. I'll be right back, he promised, feeling the weight of the group's hopes as he stepped away. As he walked toward his car, a sense of uncertainty wrapped around him. Who was this person? What could they want? He slid into the driver's seat, a million thoughts racing through his mind. He started the engine but paused. The bakery wasn't just about fighting the odds. It was about community, and perhaps this meeting was another chance to strengthen it. With a determined flick of the wheel, he headed toward Newark Bakery, hoping to turn this twist of fate into a new opportunity for everyone. But as he approached, a sense of foreboding settled in his gut. What awaited him inside could change everything. Would it be the breakthrough they needed? Or another setback in their journey? The tension in the air was thick, almost palpable, and as Michael pulled to a stop, he could almost hear the heartbeat of possibility pulsing in tandem with his own. He opened the door, stepping into the unknown. What awaited behind that door? As Michael stepped into the Newark Bakery, the scent of fresh pastries wafted through the air. It was a comforting smell, one that reminded him of childhood and cozy family gatherings. But the warmth that typically accompanied those thoughts was quickly overshadowed by the unresolved tension. The cafe was dimly lit, and the chatter of customers faded into a surreal hush when he entered. At the back, seated at a small table, was a woman in her 50s with a familiar face. Michael's heart sank as he recognized her. It was Marla, the bakery's former manager who had left under mysterious circumstances years ago. How odd, he thought, to see her here. She appeared different, yet there was an undeniable spark in her eyes. Michael, she greeted, her voice soft yet firm. Thank you for coming. I know this might seem unexpected. He nodded, searching her face for clarity. What's this about? Why did you want to meet? Marla gestured for him to sit. I'm here because there's something important we need to discuss. It involves the bakery and your group. He leaned forward, curiosity and unease battling within him. Are you back to help us? Because we could really use... No, she interrupted gently. I'm not here to take charge again. In fact, I never wanted to leave like I did. I made some mistakes, choices I regret. But what I have to say now is about the future. Michael's heart raced. What do you mean? Is there a way to secure funding? Are donors interested? Marla hesitated, the weight of her words almost tangible. There's a trust fund set up for community projects. But it hasn't been accessed in years. I can help you access it if you're willing to work with me. His mind spun. A trust fund? That could change everything for the bakery and the community. Hope flickered in his chest, but he was skeptical. What do we have to do? Marla's eyes softened. You'll need to prove that your bakery aims to uplift the community. It's not just about baking bread, it's about building bridges, connections. I'll be your guide, but it requires full commitment. What's in it for you? He asked, studying her face. She sighed deeply, regret lacing her voice. Honestly? Redemption. I walked away when things got tough and I want to make things right. Just then, the door to the bakery swung open, letting in a torrent of wind and rain. A familiar face stumbled in stark contrast to the warm indoor atmosphere, an elderly couple, drenched to the skin, leaning against each other. They clutched what appeared to be a battered umbrella, a symbol of their resilience against the odds. Michael's heart clenched at the sight. The couple looked disoriented, clearly struggling to find shelter. Someone get them towels, he shouted, instinctively rushing to help. In that moment, amidst the chaos of water droplets and confusion, he understood. This wasn't just about funding or business. It was about community, vulnerability, and the threads that tied them all together. As he wrapped a towel around the elderly couple, Marla watched with a newfound respect. See, this is what I meant. You're already building those bridges. Michael paused, the reality of the situation hitting him harder than the rain outside. But what if this meeting is a mistake? What if it doesn't work out? Then we'll figure it out together, Marla replied, a resolute smile forming on her face. Just as Michael took a breath to respond, his phone buzzed in his pocket. The screen lit up with another message. Meet me at the old mill. We need to talk. Now the very air crackled with potential. What awaited him in that forgotten place? His heart raced with excitement and dread combined, and he glanced back toward Marla, ready to embrace whatever came next. Would this meeting at the mill secure their future, or lead him deeper into uncertainty? Michael stepped out of the bakery and into the heavy rain, the downpour drenching him instantly. His mind raced with unanswered questions. The old mill, the very name conjured memories of childhood exploration, yet now it felt ominous, filled with secrets waiting to be uncovered. He quickened his pace, the chill from the rain in stark contrast to the warmth he felt surrounded by the elderly couple just moments before. Each step toward the mill felt heavier, laden with uncertainty. Voices in his head pleaded for caution. Why the sudden urgency? What could possibly be so important? When he finally reached the old mill, its silhouette loomed against the stormy sky like a brooding giant. The worn-out structure creaked softly in the wind, a reminder of days gone by. Pushing open the door, he was met with the haunting sound of dripping water echoing from the roof. Inside, the atmosphere was thick with musty nostalgia, a forgotten place that had once danced with laughter and play. His heart pounded in his chest as he scanned the shadows, searching for the person who summoned him. Michael! A voice broke the silence, raspy yet familiar. He turned to find Ray, a fellow volunteer from the bakery group, standing in the far corner, clutching a paper crumpled tightly in his hand. His eyes betrayed a blend of excitement and distress. What's going on, Ray? Michael asked, moving closer as the rain continued to drum on the roof overhead. I got a tip about the trust fund, Ray blurted out, bouncing on his heels, urgency spilling from his words. But there's more to it. I overheard something about why Marla left and what really happened a few years ago. Michael froze, a chill running down his spine. Just when the flicker of hope had ignited within him, it was tangled with a doubt he hadn't prepared for. What do you mean? What did you hear? Ray took a deep breath, glancing around as if the shadows held ears. There were whispers of mismanagement, but it's deeper than that. There were people involved, promises broken. Marla wasn't just a manager. She was entrenched in a tangled web of deception. Accessing that fund might come with heavy strings. A knot formed in Michael's stomach. So you're saying Marla is hiding something important? What if she's using me? Ray nodded, his expression serious. I think she genuinely wants to help. But there are risks involved. You need to know what you're really getting into. Michael glanced out the mill's dusty window, the rain blurring his vision. The bakery meant everything to him, the community, the shared moments, the hope that flickered in those who entered seeking warmth. Could he really put everything on the line for a promise that might shatter? Just as another volley of rain rattled the roof, a thought emerged. If Marla's involved in something shady, should I confront her? We need to know what we're dealing with before we dive in headfirst. Ray clenched the paper even tighter. We need to gather more information first. If we're to confront her, let us be ready. Otherwise, we could lose our footing in this whole endeavor. As Michael stared at Ray, determination coursed through him. You're right. No more ambiguity. We have to bring this to light, even if it makes our path tougher. The realization settled over them both like the encroaching fog. The stakes were high. The journey ahead was filled with twists and turns, and decisions weren't just about the bakery anymore, they were about trust, betrayal, and what lay beneath the surface. With another crack of thunder signaling their resolve, Michael knew they had to uncover the truth surrounding Marla's return, and the past that shadowed it, before they could ever hope to reach the future. The rain continued to pour, but now it felt like a cleansing storm, one that might wash away the past and leave room for something new. But as he turned to leave the mill, his phone buzzed again, jolting him from his thoughts. He glanced down at the alert. Meet me at the bakery. It's urgent. His heart raced once more. What now? What new twist awaited him? The answers remained elusive, shrouded in shadows just like the mill itself. As Michael stormed back from the old mill, adrenaline coursed through him like a raging river. Each step towards the bakery felt charged with uncertainty and promise. He couldn't shake the tensions that had unfolded, the lingering distrust of Marla and Reyes' revelations. But right then, all that mattered was the community they were building and the dream they were fighting for. When he reached the bakery, the churning noise inside felt like a heartbeat pulsing with life. The air was filled with laughter, the scent of fresh pastries mingling with something deeper. He pushed through the door, the warmth enveloping him like a familiar embrace. But the urgent look on Ava's face cut through the atmosphere like a knife. Dad, you won't believe what just happened, she exclaimed, breathless and wide-eyed. Is it about Marla? Michael's heart raced. Was this good or bad news? No, it's bigger. The community center board just voted in favor of our proposal. They want to support the bakery, give us funds for the renovation and everything. Joy surged within him, but caution held him back. That's amazing. But what about interest or strings attached? Her excitement faltered momentarily. Well, they want to discuss it further. There are guidelines. We need to prove our commitment to the community. Michael's fervor surged again. Then we'll show them what we're made of. In that moment, Ava, Dylan, and the others rallied around him, boxed in by determination. We'll plan the potluck and bake sale to showcase our vision. It's all about community spirit, Ava said, and Michael felt invigorated. Hope ignited like fireworks. They began brainstorming, planning their first big fundraiser, calling on everyone in the neighborhood to rally and contribute. But as the excitement grew, the memory of Reyes' caution gnawed at him. He had to bridge trust in every direction between his children, Marla, and the community they all aimed to reinforce. Let us invite Marla to our next meeting. I think she can help, but we need to ask the right questions. He spoke firmly, determination ringing in his voice. The nods from Ava and Dylan were firm, but he could still see the reservations in their expressions. The meeting that night buzzed with passionate ideas, laughter, and resolutions. As they discussed the theme of the fundraiser, Michael's thoughts drifted back to Reyes' warning. Would revealing Marla's past lead to greater transparency or rupture the fragile trust they were cultivating? He wouldn't know until he took that leap. Truth or trust? He would have to navigate this thin line, but in this moment the bakery transcended all. It wasn't simply a business. It was a revival, a sanctuary that would welcome every soul in the community. Upon wrapping up the plans, Michael paused, gathering himself to speak, heart pounding in his chest. I just want you all to know how proud I am of this team. We started as strangers aiming for a dream, and now we're a family lifting each other. Let us carry this spirit forward. As everyone cheered, instinctively reaching out to share warmth and affection, he felt a radiant joy streaming through him. But then the door creaked open, causing the group's laughter to fade into whispers. Marla stood there, slightly drenched, a hesitant smile touching her lips, seemingly burdened by what weighed on her conscience. May I come in? She asked softly. Michael stepped forward, a mix of trepidation and hope flaring within him. Yes, we'd like to talk about partnering to restore the bakery. As everyone gestured her in, he saw the flicker of gratitude in her eyes. This was at the moment to face the past and rediscover trust. Thank you for considering my involvement, she said, her voice steady. I want to support everything you're working toward. Then let us start fresh, Marla, Michael urged, determination threading through his words. But we want honesty. What really happened before? What should we expect? Silence wrapped around the room, thick like fog, and Michael felt the tension rise. This wasn't just about the bakery. It was about unity, truth, and hope. As she took a deep breath, he braced himself for the truth behind the veils of deception. He felt the weight of the group's anticipation, hearts weighing in the balance. Everything started with good intentions, but sacrifices were made. You need to know how to rise above. Her story unfolded, layers of struggles, vulnerabilities they had kept hidden. But her resolve, intertwined with their budding connection, offered hope. What was built from the ashes they could do together. Unified, they would face shadows of the past and weave a brighter future with hands interlocked, ready to explore paths of coexistence instead of division. Michael felt the buzz of ambition ignite among them once more as the night deepened. In that moment of unity, the bakery became more than a business. It was a testament to resilience, a symbol of what could be accomplished when connected, regardless of past fears. Finally, clarity dawned upon him. The power of community triumphed, and together, they would feed the flame of change inside the bakery and beyond. With hope threading through each heart, he saw nothing less than a bright horizon ahead. For the first time in a long while, Michael saw a future filled with warmth, purpose, and connection. Now it was time to invite you to be part of this journey. You need to subscribe now to the channel to keep up with these exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and share your thoughts and feelings about this heartfelt ending in the comments. And don't wait not even 1 second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this inspiring transformation. There's more to come. And you won't want to miss it.